Well, well, well. Good morning, my darlings and distinguished gents. It's your gal Emily here, ready to sprinkle a bit of magic into your day with the freshest gossip from the delightful world of Witworks. Hope you're all basking in the positivity on this glorious day. Now on to the main event brought to you by the fabulous folks at Gizmo League. These darlings are like the Justice League of tech gadgets and gaming gear. No joke. They're all about dishing out the coolest, most futuristic goodies that'll make you feel like you've stepped into your own sci-fi adventure. And hey, let's show them some love. After all, they're the reason we're gathered here today. So, how about a round of applause for them? And don't forget to swing by www.gizmoleague.com after the show to dive into all things awesome. Now, let's dive into today's most enchanting tale without further ado. Top 10 Enigmatic Hidden Treasures Yet to be Found. Introduction. Hidden treasures have always captured the imagination of adventurers and dreamers alike. From ancient legends to modern-day mysteries, the allure of discovering long-lost riches continues to tantalize. Here, we delve into the realm of the top 10 enigmatic hidden treasures that are still waiting to be unearthed, each shrouded in its own mystique and speculation. 1. The Lost Dutchman's Gold Mine. All right, folks, gather round for a tale of adventure, mystery, and a touch of gold fever. We're talking about the legendary Lost Dutchman's Gold Mine, hidden somewhere in the rugged Superstition Mountains of Arizona. Now you might be thinking, what's the big deal about a lost gold mine? Well, let me tell you, this isn't just any old mine. It's the stuff of legends, myths, and countless treasure hunts. So, let's rewind the clock to the 19th century, when a German immigrant named Jacob Waltz, who folks took to calling the Dutchman, why? Because Dutch sounded cooler than Deutsch, supposedly struck it rich. Imagine old Jacob stumbling upon a gold vein so shiny and rich that it would make even Scrooge McDuck jealous. But here's the kicker. Jacob, being a man of mystery, decided to keep the location of his glittering discovery a secret. He wasn't about to let everyone and their grandma know where his treasure was stashed. Now, fast forward a bit. Jacob Waltz is no longer with us, and he took the secret of the gold mine to his grave. This left a whole lot of folks scratching their heads and setting off on wild goose chases in the Arizona desert. Picture this: intrepid explorers, starry-eyed prospectors, and weekend adventurers with pickaxes and treasure maps, all hoping to strike it rich. They've all got their theories, tips from dubious sources, and a hefty dose of optimism. But the gold? Still missing in action. The Superstition Mountains aren't just a casual hike in the park either. These are some serious, craggy, and treacherous peaks, with enough legends and eerie tales to make anyone think twice about wandering off the beaten path. There's talk of ghostly apparitions, mysterious deaths, and cursed treasure. The kind of stuff that keeps campfire stories alive. Despite the danger and the decades of fruitless searching, the allure of the Lost Dutchman's gold mine refuses to fade. It's become one of those ultimate what-if quests. What if you're the one who finally cracks the code? What if that glint of gold in the distance is the jackpot everyone's been dreaming about? The possibility is just too tantalizing to ignore. So, next time you're planning a vacation and thinking Arizona, maybe toss a metal detector and a sturdy pair of boots in the trunk. Who knows? You might just stumble upon the Lost Dutchman's treasure and become the next legend of the Superstition Mountains. Just be sure to leave a little for the rest of us, okay? 2. The Oak Island Money Pit. Ah, Oak Island and its elusive money pit. Picture this, a quaint little spot off Nova Scotia's coast, where instead of sipping coconut drinks under palm trees, people have been digging feverishly since 1795. Yep, you heard that right. This pit has been more dug up than your average backyard garden, yet it's still hiding its secrets like a stubborn child playing hide-and-seek. Legend has it that when young Daniel McGinnis stumbled upon a suspicious depression in the ground, he probably thought he hit the jackpot. Little did he know, he was setting off a treasure hunt that would make Indiana Jones blush. Layers upon layers of intrigue followed. First, it was those mysterious logs, neatly laid out as if someone was playing a giant game of Jenga. Then came the coconut fibers, because what's a good mystery without a touch of the tropical? And just when you thought things couldn't get more extra, they found gold fragments. Not enough to retire on, mind you, but certainly enough to keep the dreamers dreaming. Now, what exactly is buried down there? Well, that's the million, or maybe trillion-dollar question. Depending on who you ask, it could be Blackbeard's hoard, Captain Kidd's ill-gotten gains, or maybe just a really elaborate pit designed to mess with archaeologists' heads. Some even say Marie Antoinette's bling might be chilling down there, lost on its way to some guillotine-themed yard sale. Despite all the hype and the occasional conspiracy theory, one thing's for sure. That treasure, if it exists, is playing hard to get. We're talking about centuries of digging, folks. This pit has seen more shovels than a suburban hardware store on Memorial Day weekend. Yet, every time someone thinks they're about to hit gold, they hit bedrock or worse. Another layer of those darn coconut fibers. But hey, who can blame them for trying? It's the ultimate game of what if on a grand scale. Will the next digger strike it rich? Will they finally unravel the mystery that's been stumping amateur sleuths and seasoned historians alike? Or will Oak Island continue to be the Bermuda Triangle of buried treasure, where hopes are high, but the X never marks the spot? So, the next time you're daydreaming about finding buried treasure, just remember Oak Island. It's like the world's longest-running reality show, full of suspense, drama, and enough twists to keep you hooked for another season. Who knows? Maybe one day they'll find that elusive treasure chest, and we'll all get to say, "I told you so!" 3. The Treasure of Lima. Ah, the elusive Treasure of Lima! Picture this, early 1700s, bigwigs in Peru sweating bullets over a British invasion. So, they decide, hey, let's stash our bling somewhere safe, away from those pesky tea drinkers. Enter stage left, the Viceroy of Peru, orchestrating the world's most epic game of hide-and-seek with $200 million in gold and silver. Fast forward to today, and we're still scratching our heads trying to find it. Legend has it that this treasure, more loaded than a Kardashian's shopping spree, got buried somewhere along Chile's coastline. Makes sense, right? Beautiful beaches, breathtaking sunsets, and the occasional buried fortune to stumble upon during your morning jog. But hold your metal detectors, folks. Despite more expeditions than you can shake a pirate's peg leg at? Nada. Zilch. Not even a, here lies a really rich historical mistake sign. Now, you might wonder, how does $200 million worth of precious metals just vanish into thin air? Well, apparently when you're playing high-stakes hide-and-seek with colonial-era logistics, things get dicey. Imagine trying to coordinate a heist with a non-existent 18th century GPS. It's like trying to find your keys in a blackout. Except the keys are worth a small country's GDP. But hey, the mystery keeps us entertained. Every few years, some hopefuls dust off their shovels and head down to Chile, dreaming of striking gold. Literally. It's like the lottery, but with more sunburn and fewer champagne showers. And who knows, maybe one day, someone will stumble upon an ancient lockbox labeled Property of Lima, hands off, matey. In the meantime, we're left with tales of daring escapades, failed expeditions, and enough conspiracy theories to fill a Netflix series. Did the British get there first? Did the treasure slip into an underwater cave guarded by ancient sea monsters? Or maybe, just maybe, it's waiting for the right adventurer to decipher those cryptic old maps, decode the riddles, and yell, "Eureka!" like they've struck intellectual gold. So, here's to the treasure of Lima. May it forever keep us guessing and dreaming of a windfall that could make Scrooge McDuck blush. And if you ever find yourself beachcombing along Chile's coast, keep an eye out for shimmering clues because who knows, you might just stumble upon history's greatest game of hide-and-seek and the ultimate payday buried beneath your flip-flops. Cheers to that! 4. The Lost Crown Jewels of Ireland. Ah, the tale of the Lost Crown Jewels of Ireland. A mystery fit for a Sherlockian escapade. Picture it, Dublin, 1907. The scene is set at Dublin Castle, not for a medieval joust, but for a good old-fashioned heist. Here's the scoop. The crown jewels, not just any sparkly trinkets, but the star and badge of the Order of St. Patrick, vanished into thin air, leaving behind a cloud of confusion and a dash of scandal. Now, these weren't your run-of-the-mill baubles. Oh no, they were the real deal, dripping with historical gravitas and shiny enough to make any jewel aficionado swoon. Naturally, their disappearance didn't just ruffle feathers. It caused a right royal uproar. You see, it wasn't just about the bling. It was about Ireland's pride and history gone missing quicker than you can say leprechaun. To this day, where those jewels ended up is anybody's guess. Some say they're stashed away in a secret underground lair guarded by ancient Celtic spirits. Others swear they've been melted down into souvenir shamrocks that tourists unknowingly tote home in their suitcases. One thing's for sure, the mystery of the missing jewels has become Ireland's very own Loch Ness monster. Everyone's heard of it, but nobody's quite sure where to find it. The heist itself? Well, let's just say it was a masterclass in stealth. No alarms blaring, no dramatic getaway car screeching down cobblestone streets, just a quiet vanishing act that would make Houdini proud. The culprits? Suspects ranged from disgruntled castle staff to mischievous fairies with a penchant for shiny things. You can imagine the conversations over pints in Dublin's pubs. Who do you reckon pinched 'em then? Was it Paddy the pickpocket or maybe Seamus the schemer? But jokes aside, the loss of these jewels left a bittersweet legacy. Sure, there's the intrigue, the thrill of the unsolved mystery that keeps historians up at night. Yet, there's also a longing, a hope that maybe, just maybe, one day they'll turn up, nestled in an old attic trunk or uncovered during some grand renovation project. So, here's to the lost crown jewels of Ireland. May their story continue to sparkle in the annals of history, reminding us that even the most priceless treasures can slip through our fingers, leaving behind nothing but whispers of what once was. And who knows? Perhaps one day someone will stumble upon them, and we'll all raise a glass and say, well, fancy that. Found 'em at last. 5. The treasure of the Knights Templar. Ah, the Knights Templar and their tantalizing treasure troves. Picture this. Back in the medieval day, these warrior monks weren't just swinging swords and chanting hymns. They were also master stashers of serious bling. Think Indiana Jones meets Monty Python, except with more serious historical gravitas and probably fewer coconuts. So, imagine you're a Knight Templar in the 1300s, cruising around medieval Europe, doing your crusading thing. Meanwhile, you've got this secret side hustle, stashing away all sorts of goodies in hidden vaults. We're talking sacred relics, ancient bling, maybe even the Holy Grail, if you're into that kind of thing. Fast forward to their sudden suppression in the 14th century. Thanks, King Philip IV of France. And boom! Legend has it these guys left behind a treasure trail that would make any pirate jealous. Now, cut to modern times. People are still out there with their metal detectors and historical maps, chasing after Templar loot like it's the ultimate scavenger hunt. It's like a real-life game of Dungeons and Dragons, where instead of rolling dice, you're deciphering ancient manuscripts and dodging conspiracy theories. The allure is real because, hey, who doesn't love a good mystery wrapped in centuries-old intrigue? But here's the kicker. Despite all the hype, the actual locations of these Templar treasure stashes? Still a mystery. Like trying to find your keys in the morning. Only instead of under the couch cushions, it's hidden somewhere under centuries of history and maybe a few castles. So, why does this medieval hide-and-seek still matter? Well, apart from the thrill of imagining yourself in a fedora and bullwhip, thanks Hollywood, it taps into that human fascination with the unknown. It's the thrill of the chase, the allure of unlocking secrets that have been buried for ages. Plus, who wouldn't want to stumble upon a chest full of ancient gold coins? It's like winning the historical lottery, with a side of archaeological street cred. In the end, whether you're a hardcore history buff or just someone who loves a good tale, the Knights Templar treasure is the stuff of legend for a reason. It's a timeless reminder that history isn't just about dates and battles. It's also about the tantalizing possibility of discovering something truly extraordinary, buried just beneath the surface of our collective imagination. 6. The Lost Treasure of King John. Ah, the elusive treasure of King John, lost in the murky depths of the Wash estuary back in the 13th century. Picture this: King John, probably grumbling about the weather and trying not to get his socks wet, suddenly realizes he's misplaced a few jewels and a handful of gold coins. Classic royal mishap, right? Legend has it that King John was crossing this treacherous estuary, possibly on a rainy day, because when isn't England rainy? When disaster struck. Whether it was a slippery rock or just a really strong tide that caught him off guard, we'll never know. What we do know is that his treasure took an unexpected plunge into the estuary's shifting sands, creating the ultimate royal scavenger hunt. Fast forward to today, and the treasure remains as elusive as ever. It's like trying to find matching socks in your laundry. You know they're in there somewhere, but the dryer seems to have eaten them. Treasure hunters and historians alike have been scratching their heads for centuries, trying to pin down exactly where King John's bling might be hiding. The Wash isn't exactly the friendliest place for a lost treasure to hang out. Between the fickle tides and those pesky shifting sands, seriously, sands, could you just stay put for once? It's like nature is playing a game of hide and seek with King John's loot. And let's not forget the thrill-seeking treasure hunters who have waded into the fray, armed with metal detectors and an unshakable belief in their luck. It's a bit like watching a reality show where history meets Indiana Jones. Imagine the scene: modern-day adventurers, knee-deep in mud, squinting at their metal detectors as they try to distinguish between ancient artifacts and someone's discarded soda can. Every beep sends their hearts racing, hoping they've stumbled upon a piece of that long-lost royal treasure. Meanwhile, historians pore over dusty manuscripts and scratchy maps, hoping to crack the code that will lead them to the jackpot. So, while King John's treasure remains tantalizingly out of reach, it continues to spark the imagination and determination of treasure hunters and historians alike. Who knows? Maybe one day someone will stumble upon a glint of gold in the Wash's murky waters and finally solve this centuries-old mystery. Until then, the treasure of King John remains the ultimate game of hide-and-seek, played out against the timeless backdrop of England's unpredictable tides and mischievous sands. 7. The Lost Inca Gold of Ecuador. Ah, the tantalizing tales of lost treasures and ancient mysteries. Picture this: the 1500s, a time when conquistadors were basically the original treasure hunters, not in the glamorous Indiana Jones way, but more like a mashup of ruthless adventurers and avid metal detector enthusiasts. They stormed through the Inca Empire, sending shiploads of gold and silver back to Europe faster than you can say El Dorado. Yet, here's the twist in the plot. Some of that shiny loot mysteriously vanished en route. Cue the dramatic music and suspicious glances. Now, Ecuador enters stage left. Nestled snugly in the Andes, it's not just about fluffy llamas and misty peaks. It's allegedly home to hidden stashes of Inca gold. Imagine stumbling upon a secret trove while hiking for the perfect Instagram shot. It's like stumbling upon an ancient vending machine that dispenses gold bars instead of Snickers. Legend has it these caches were squirreled away by wily Inca rulers, dodging the covetous gaze of European invaders. They probably pulled off the original underground bank scheme, long before modern bankers could spell offshore account. Now, Ecuadorians have more than just bananas to brag about. They've got a legit treasure hunt on their hands. Of course, the skeptic in us wonders, is this just a well-spun yarn to spice up local tourism? Maybe, but hey, who doesn't love a good old-fashioned treasure hunt? It's like the real-life adult version of a scavenger hunt, minus the neon colors and participation trophies. And let's face it, the allure of buried treasure is as timeless as bad hair days or accidentally hitting reply all. So, what if you stumble upon an ancient Inca bling stash? Do you keep it or call Nicolas Cage? Tough call. But let's be real. The real treasure might just be the thrill of the chase. The mud-splattered hiking boots, the map that's seen better days, and the satisfaction of knowing that somewhere out there, history's little secrets are winking at you. In the end, whether you believe in lost gold or not, the story itself is a nugget of cultural intrigue, a glimpse into a time when the world was wilder and gold bars were the original Bitcoin. So, grab your fedora, or sun hat, we're flexible here, channel your inner explorer, and who knows, you might just stumble upon a piece of history that's shinier than your best pair of sunglasses. Cheers to Ecuador, the land of legends, llamas, and possibly a bit of hidden bling. 8. The treasure of the Copper Scroll. Ah, the Copper Scroll, a real-life treasure map, straight out of an Indiana Jones flick. Imagine stumbling upon this ancient Hebrew parchment among the Dead Sea Scrolls in Qumran. You've got your typical dusty archaeologist moment, brushing off millennia-old sand to reveal a shopping list that's not for bread and milk, but for treasures beyond your wildest dreams. Gold, silver, jewels, the whole shebang, meticulously cataloged in a way that would make even Marie Kondo nod in approval. Now, the scroll itself is like a riddle wrapped in an enigma, sprinkled with a pinch of ancient mystery dust. Scholars have been scratching their heads over it for ages, trying to crack its cryptic clues like it's the Da Vinci Code meets Sudoku. But here's the kicker. Despite all the brain power thrown at it, a lot of the spots marked for loot haven't been found yet. It's like someone hid their stash so well, even they couldn't remember where they put it. Picture this. A bunch of academics and treasure hunters huddled around, squinting at faded ink and arguing over translations like it's the last slice of pizza at a party. They're deciphering clues that could lead to untold riches, or maybe just an ancient storage unit full of broken pottery. Hey, pottery can be valuable too, right? And let's not forget the adventurers who read about this stuff and think, challenge accepted. Armed with metal detectors and possibly a very optimistic attitude, they embark on quests that would make a D&D campaign jealous. Who wouldn't want to find buried treasure? It's the ultimate adult version of a scavenger hunt, minus the participation trophies and with way higher stakes. But back to the Copper Scroll. It's not just a dusty relic. It's a tantalizing glimpse into the past, a reminder that ancient civilizations were just as obsessed with bling as we are today. It's history wrapped in shiny, precious metal foil, waiting for someone bold enough to decode its secrets and maybe, just maybe, strike it rich. So, next time you're digging through your attic looking for old baseball cards or grandma's secret fudge recipe, remember the Copper Scroll. Somewhere out there, buried beneath layers of sand and history, lies a treasure trove waiting for its moment to shine again. And, who knows, maybe you'll be the one to uncover it, armed with nothing but a sense of adventure and a really good shovel. 9. The Beale Ciphers. Ah, the mystery of buried treasure and unsolved ciphers. It's like a real-life episode of National Treasure meets a cryptic crossword puzzle with a side of conspiracy theory. Picture this. Early 1800s Virginia, where Thomas J. Beale decides to play the ultimate game of hide-and-seek, but forgets to leave a map for the rest of us mere mortals. Legend has it, Beale stashes away a fortune so massive that if found today, it would probably have its own reality TV show and a dedicated Instagram following. What's the catch, you ask? Well, Beale wasn't just going to hand it over with a big red X marks the spot. No. He decided to spice things up with not one, but 3 cryptic ciphers. It's almost as if he wanted to ensure that whoever found it would have to earn it, preferably while scratching their heads and muttering, "Why didn't he just make a treasure map like a normal person?" Now, fast forward a couple of centuries, and here we are, still scratching our heads. 2 out of those 3 ciphers remain as tightly locked as a safe in Fort Knox. Despite countless attempts by amateur sleuths, professional cryptographers, and probably a few conspiracy theorists working out of their basements, cue dramatic music, the codes have yet to reveal their secrets. It's like the Da Vinci Code without Tom Hanks to crack the case, or Sherlock Holmes without the deerstalker hat and the snarky comments. The real kicker? No one's even sure if Thomas J. Beale was a real person or just an alias for some master prankster from the 1800s. Was he a cunning entrepreneur ahead of his time, a crafty con artist, or maybe just a guy who got a bit too carried away with the idea of leaving a grand treasure hunt for future generations? The debate rages on, fueled by equal parts curiosity and the hope that one day someone will stumble upon Beale's buried booty and finally put an end to the mystery. In the meantime, the story of the Beale ciphers continues to capture imaginations, spawning endless theories, documentaries that pop up on late-night cable TV, and probably a few online forums where armchair detectives swap wild ideas faster than you can say X-Files. So, if you ever find yourself wandering the hills of Virginia with a metal detector and a copy of Cryptography for Dummies, just remember, you might be the one to crack the code and uncover a fortune, or, end up with a really cool story for your next family reunion. 10. The Lost Ship of the Desert. Ah, the Lost Ship of the Desert. Talk about a tale that's as elusive as finding matching socks in a dryer. Picture this: California, land of beaches, Hollywood dreams, and apparently buried treasure. Legends swirl like tumbleweeds about this mythical vessel, allegedly stuffed to the gills with pearls, gold, and enough precious gems to make a Kardashian's jewelry collection look like a kid's toy box. Now, you might wonder how on earth a ship ends up stranded in a desert. Was the captain using Apple Maps before it got cool and ended up in the wrong zip code? Maybe they were navigating by starlight and the stars had a day off. Whatever the case, theories are as abundant as sunburns at a Coachella concert. Some folks swear it's a Spanish galleon, like Columbus's distant cousin made a wrong turn at Albuquerque and decided the desert looked like prime real estate for burying treasure. Others argue it's a Chinese junk. No, not that kind of junk. Think more along the lines of a boat that's seen better days, lost in the sands during some ancient maritime adventure. Imagine the conversation. Honey, we're not lost. We're just taking the scenic route through Death Valley. Despite more sightings than a Bigfoot convention and expeditions that make Indiana Jones look like a cubicle dweller, this ship remains as mysterious as your neighbor's Amazon packages that never seem to arrive. Every so often, someone claims to have spotted it, like a mirage in the desert. Although, to be fair, it's hard to tell the difference between a lost ship and an overly optimistic tourist looking for In-N-Out Burger. The Lost Ship of the Desert is like America's own bedtime story, a tantalizing blend of fact, fiction, and more conspiracy theories than a Netflix documentary. It's the kind of tale that makes you wonder what else might be lurking under those desert dunes. A lost colony of retired showbiz llamas? Jimmy Hoffa's secret hideout? A Starbucks oasis? The possibilities are as endless as the Mojave Horizon. So, whether you're a skeptic or a hopeful treasure hunter, the legend of the Lost Ship of the Desert remains a captivating enigma, reminding us that even in the vastness of the American West, there's always room for a good story, and maybe, just maybe, a shipwreck waiting to be discovered between the Joshua trees and cacti. Until then, keep your eyes peeled and your shovel handy. You never know when you might strike gold, or at least an excellent story to tell around the campfire. Conclusion. The allure of hidden treasures spans centuries and continents, blending history with adventure and fueling the human spirit of exploration. Whether buried by pirates, hidden by ancient civilizations, or lost in the sands of time, These enigmatic treasures continue to capture our imagination and inspire quests for discovery. Who knows what secrets the future holds? Perhaps one of these mysteries will finally be solved, revealing a fortune and a story waiting to be told. Until then, the hunt continues, driven by curiosity, passion, and a touch of daring optimism. And that, my fabulous listeners, wraps up our adventure for today. Here at Whitwork Studios, we absolutely thrive on the warmth and loyalty of sharp individuals like yourselves. If you're ready for the full VIP treatment, crave unlimited access to our latest podcasts, and want to support our artistic endeavors, why not join our premium subscribers club? You've got the smarts, darling. No need for a roadmap. But before you embark on your journey to conquer the world with all your newfound wisdom, I simply must give a heartfelt shout-out to our dear friends at Gizmo League. Truly, these wonderful folks are the real MVPs, making this podcast possible and delivering the magic of tech straight to your ears. So, if you're yearning for a taste of gadget goodness, hop on over to www.gizmoleague.com and see what they're brewing up. Until we meet again, keep that curiosity burning bright and stay as marvelous as you are. Until next time, my lovelies.